It's time for the View in Your Mirror podcast. I'm Katie Harms, and along with Lisa Rubin, we help you check in and curate the best possible you and the best view in your mirror. We share tips, tricks, and strategies from our 35 plus years in our respective industries. We talk about your day from morning to night and everything in between. We share our uniqueness, relish in our shared experiences. Along the way, we share conversation with fabulous people who give us their own thought-provoking insights. So come along as we help you hone the best view in your mirror. Lisa.
Katie.
It has been a whirlwind, has it not?
It has been a whirlwind. It has, yes. I agree.
We have all sorts of celebrations. We have births. We have deaths. We have life that has happened. And we were talking about humor, you and I, and how humor plays such a part in everything that we do, right?
Yes, and we all need more of it, because I'm not funny.
I think you can be really funny at times, and I think I'm funny, and my family doesn't think I'm funny. So, there's all of that in there, but I do know that the other day, I went to see... I'm not going to think of her name right now. She was at the State Theater, and she's Celeste Barber. She's a comedian. She's hysterical. So I laughed for an hour and a half, seriously laughed for an hour and a half. I have never slept better. And I thought, okay, well, clearly there needs to be more humor going on, especially before going to bed. So we have a very special guest, and so we're having a very shortened intro because I want to spend all the time with this guest. Probably we should do this with all our guests because they're way more fun than we are. But Sheletta Brundidge, and if you don't know Sheletta, you will. And if you don't know Sheletta, you've been living under a rock if you're in the Twin Cities. Sheletta Brundidge, Sheletta has Sheletta Makes Me Laugh.com. It started as an idea. She's an Emmy award-winning comedian and radio host. She is aware of the serious lack of diversity in traditional media and really had an inability to find a place at the table. So she started her own media company in 2020. She created Sheletta Makes Me Laugh, a multimedia online platform with weekly podcasts. She has contributed to so many shows and is a WCCO radio host and commentator on TPT's Almanac. She has risen in status as an influencer, social media phenomenon, and activist for other small Black businesses. If you haven't heard about the Bring Your Ass, then you're going to today. So she has a journalism degree, a newsroom background, and she originally hails from Houston, Texas. So I'm sure she's got some thoughts on what's going on with the hurricanes and all of that going on. She has a heart as big as the great outdoors, recently involved in working to bring locks, childproof locks to homes for people with autism because of the recent loss of a young child in the Twin Cities area. She has children with autism. She's very forward thinking and delightful, and I cannot wait to talk to her. And we welcome Sheletta Brundidge to the podcast. Sheletta Brundidge, we are so glad you brought your ass to our little podcast, girl.
Hey, ladies. It is so good to be here. I'm just so honored to be talking. Anytime I can be in a space with women, I am excited. I'm always excited to be around women because we're bossing up. We're not waiting on anybody to give us opportunities. When we have a creative idea, we are running with it. We are doing it. And then we're finding co-signers. Y'all have co-signed on each other's vision. I want y'all to know how important that is. Katie and Lisa. And for me, one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible says when 2 or 3 people are gathered together, you can have anything. And y'all are here together, supporting one another. And I'm so glad that that's what we as women are doing. You know what I mean? We used to be competition. If she got it, then that meant I couldn't have it. If I got it, I'm not going to partner with her because she's going to try to take what I got. And in those days are over, girl. We are working together. We are building each other up. We are co-signing on each other's visions. We are stepping outside our comfort zone to help one another. I love it. I love to see y'all together, and it's giving me life. Life.
Uh, well, the energy in the room is phenomenal. I love that co-signing on each
I
other.
love that. Oh my
You
God, I never heard
co-sign.
of that.
You got to co-sign for each other, girl. Because if you've never bought a car before, you need a co-signer. You can't walk in there. I don't care if you got cash. They're gonna want somebody to say, you know what? We need somebody to vouch for you. You need a co-signer. And so somebody's gonna be on that second line. Okay. So whenever you go get a bank loan, car note, buy a house, it's usually two lines, right? It's a primary and a
Yeah.
secondary, right? And people call me a second liner because I'm going to always co-sign on somebody's vision. I'm going to always co-sign on their dreams. And when stuff starts hitting the fan, I don't know if y'all curse on your podcast. I do. But when stuff starts hitting the fan, that top line gets weary. Well, the second line's got to push the top line back up. The
Mm.
co-signer. The co-signer. I'm always going to sign my name. I'm always co-signing. And I'm going to push you back up. I'm going to co-sign on your vision. I'm going to be right there with you. If you can't make it, I'm going to help push you to the finish line. If I got to drag you, we're going to go arm in arm, hand in hand. I want to see you win because there's enough as women, especially for all of us to win. And for
There's
so
enough.
long, these men have been in positions of authority. Nothing against men. I love them. I got 3 sons, an ex-husband, and a daddy. Okay. I love men. I love them. I want to get married again one day. I want me an Anna Nicole Smith though. I want me like an 87-year-old white man in a wheelchair who can't remember his own name, with lots and lots of money, right? Who's like got some Sally Hemings fantasies that he never got a chance to fulfill in his younger days. That's what I'm looking for. So if y'all know any men like that who in his spare time watches old episodes of Roots and loves the Thomas Jefferson story and Monticello and likes going to Confederate reenactments, please tell him to call me. He has to be 87 and he has to be in a wheelchair. Okay.
87 and in a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair and lots of money. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Older than 87? No.
No, because his family might fight me. And
Okay.
then they might be able to say he's not in his right mind. See, 89, they can say, oh, he's not thinking clearly. We're going to void this marriage. But by 87, he still got a little fight in him. So he can fight his family off. Right.
Okay, we'll look for that. We'll let you know if we find somebody. We'll
Please. Please.
I have 5 marriages to my name that I have set people up with.
You what, girl? You doing it? You giving out rings? You should keep rings at your house.
Just enough Jewish heritage that I suppose maybe that part of the Yenta-ness came through. I don't know. What do you think, Lisa?
It's possible. It's possible. Yeah. I never looked at it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like to connect people. So you never know when I'm going to run into an 87-year-old wheelchair-bound man.
Girl, I'm telling you.
You put these things out in the universe, Sheletta. I feel like you've been putting things out in the universe. Like when did this phenomenal personality of yours, has it been since birth?
All of us are born with a gift. I think God puts a gift in each and every one of us. And then it's up to us to tap into that gift and start using it, whether it is in our careers, in our community, with our children. We were born with something, right? And I look at Serena Williams. Her daddy did not put her in gymnastics. He put her in tennis. Tiger Woods' daddy did not have him swimming. He put him in golf. Michael Jackson's daddy did not put him on the drums in the back. That's Tito's job. Michael was up front dancing because they were born with something, a gift of some kind the God gave us when we were born. And it's up to us to try to figure it out. And you know how you can figure it out? It's the thing that you do the best with the least amount of effort. And it's the thing that everybody's been trying to get you not to do. Think about that. Think about that. Like all my childhood, I heard, shut up, Sheletta. Shut up, Sheletta. Shut up, Sheletta. You talk too much. Every report card, Lisa, they were like, talks too much. Be quiet. They've been trying to get me to shut up since I could talk. And talking is the thing that I do the best with the least amount of effort. And so that's where the gift was. So somehow God managed to weave me into a career where talking and being real nosy was a plus. And that was in the newsroom. And once I got in the newsroom, that's like the only job that I've ever had. Like I graduated from college one week and the next week I was in the newsroom. That's the only job I've ever had. And I don't think I could ever do anything else other than talk and be nosy. But that's the career of a news person, a broadcaster. That's your job. And who knew? Who knew that talking and being nosy could help you find a career? Who knew?
But, well, clearly you figured that out. And I would add to that this insatiable ability to be creative. You have such a creative mind. I'm looking at the things that you've done. And I mean, you have to, right? A stand-up career is not, you can be
It's not
nosy and
all.
talk, but you still have to have that
You have to
creativity.
have some other stuff. And every morning, ladies, I pray for three things: creativity, connections, and resources. Because you can have all the creativity you want, but if you don't have somebody to connect to, if I don't have y'all podcast to get on, if I don't have a business that's going to sponsor an event, if I don't have somebody who's going to co-sign with me, I don't have any connections. That creativity is me and my kids going to be in the house laughing. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
laughing with my friends. How many, Lisa and Katie, how many of our dreams die on the phone? Die at the kitchen table, die at a girlfriend's house over a glass of wine? How many of our great ideas are still sitting on the sofa at our best friend's house that never got up? We got up from the sofa, but them dreams and goals and visions, the creativity that we had that night, it stayed there. And what I'm just foolish enough to believe is that if God gives me an idea, He's going to give me the provision I need to make it happen. And I'm just going to run and walk on this water. I'm just going to step out on faith and I'm going to do what it is that I need to do, because whatever pops in my head, girl, I'm taking out running, because this is the thing that we understand. And Lisa, you just, buried your father-in-law. But this is the thing that we understand is that at this age and stage in our lives, ladies, is that time is tight. When you were 20, you would write something on a to-do list and it'd be like 6 months. You'd be like, what did I forget to do? Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to reach out to her. Well, the person you're supposed to reach out to is also 20. So her ass might still be sitting there. But we don't reach out to somebody in 6 months, girl, and we going to a funeral. We are visiting their asses in the hospital. So we know that time is tight. And so any idea that pops in my head, girl, I'm running. I'm running at full speed ahead. I'm gonna run through. If I don't see a wall, I see an opportunity to bust through a wall. I don't see a door closed. I see an opportunity to bust through the door. And if I don't get through the door, I bet you one thing, it's gonna have a crack in it. It's gonna have a dent in it, so that the next person who runs into that door, they may be able to get in. And if I run to the door again, right, it might open this time. But I promise you, if I'm running, if I get an idea, I'm running with it. Like my son Brandon, this is so fun. This is my favorite story in the whole wide world to tell. So we were on vacation in Houston. It was March 9th, 2022. And we were in Texas in our family's RV. And I got four children: Andrew, Brandon, Cameron, and Daniel, right? Brandon, Cameron, and Daniel all have autism. And so we were going to have five kids, but they started having autism. So we stopped having kids. We're like, what's wrong? Okay, something ain't right. Okay, your sperm is bad. My eggs are bad. Something ain't happening. We better stop having kids together. And so Brandon, who is my favorite child, we were riding on a golf cart through the RV park. And he said, Mama, these people love me here. And I said, these people don't know you, son. You live in Minnesota. He said, no, Mama, these people love me. Everywhere I go, they have my sign up. And I said, boy, these people don't know nothing about you. What sign? He said, Mama, everywhere. All these people, they were just waiting for me to get here. And so he's going up to these strangers and he's talking to them. Hi, I'm Brandon. Nice to meet you. Thanks for being my fan. And then here come his siblings. Mom, nobody has my sign up. Nobody loves me. They only love Brandon. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? And so my son says, Mom, stop. Do you see my sign? I said, son, I don't see no sign. Girl, he was talking about the Let's Go Brandon flag. He thought an RV park in Texas with 176 trailers. We in Texas now, with these Let's Go Brandon flag signs and bumper stickers, were all there waiting for him to arrive. And let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all something. That gave that boy enough confidence that he stopped stuttering. He is tested off the autism spectrum and he no longer receives any kind of special services. The perceived show of support gave him what he needed to get to his next level of greatness. Now, here I go. I'm like, he said, Mom, do you spot my sign? I said, I don't spot a sign. I spot a book. We're about to make $1 million. And so
Ah,
I ran to the RV, back to our RV, and I called the publisher. I was like, we got to get a book out in a month. And she was like, it takes 6 to 9 months to do a children's book, and there's no way we're gonna be able to get this book published. And you're just gonna have to you're just gonna have to wait until next year. I said, no, the slogan is hot this year. And Autism Awareness Month is coming up on April 1st. Well, it's March 9th. There's no way. It's got to be a way. Because we're going to do it. I'm going to do it with or without you. Now, what you going to do? You coming? We put out Brandon Spots' Sign, an autism children's book. It came out on April 1st for Autism Awareness Month.
Wow.
That book was featured on CNN, Today's Show, Good Morning America. It was a Today Show, like top 10 stories of the year. It was number 3. George Takei, Martina Navratilova, and everybody under the sun fell in love with the book. President Joe Biden sent my son a personalized letter. Brandon Brown, the NASCAR driver, reached out to us, invited my son to a race. He had a little fire suit. He took the first lap, and this December, he's going to be in Brandon Brown's wedding.
oh
Wow.
my, that's fabulous.
But how does that happen if we don't run with the vision? If we
Yeah.
don't see it, if we don't have the confidence that it can happen, even if they saying no, then that means this is it. This is, if they are telling me no, that's probably why I married my husband, even though he didn't like me because he told me no. I was like, this is it. You are gonna love me. This is gonna be fun. It was like, no, I don't really want to be. I was like, but you, the fact that you telling me no means yes. That's my yes. Your no is my yes. And he really meant no. And I married him anyway. So now we're divorced. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother podcast. But when people tell me no, for me, that's a sign that, that the roadblocks are up to try to get me from getting to the finish line. So that's a hurdle for me. I'm like Shakari Richardson. I'm just jump over and run as fast as I can.
So you hear no, and
I have no, and this is your opportunity. Because look, Lisa, if success was easy, everybody would do it. If all we got was yeses, then we would walk through the door and it would be no problem. The best part of the story is the roadblock. The best part of the story is the hurdle you had to jump over. The best part of the story is the fact that everybody said no, that it couldn't possibly happen. And it
you're
did.
right. You're so right. When you hear anyone talk about their struggles, that's the part that people love to hear. How
That's
did you buy
How
it?
did
How
you
did you
do it?
buy it?
How did it happen? And when,
So
people see my kids, 3 kids with autism who couldn't talk, who were in Pampers, who ate pureed food, who wouldn't make eye contact, who couldn't follow simple commands. And now 2 of them have tested off the spectrum. They all have #1 best-selling books, children's books that we wrote. Girl, they have their own podcast. It's the #1 podcast on my network. They routinely get 100,000 downloads. Don't tell them because then they're gonna want me to pay them, right? These kids they're doing amazing things. They're doing amazing things. And it is so important for us to remember. And I just, go back to Brenda's story, the power of a positive perspective. Like you could go through this, you could deal with this, you could overcome this. And I rely on my faith and my prayers. If it wasn't for the Lord, girl, I'm gonna tell you right now, I would be under this table shaking. Girl, you would see my feet on this podcast just twitching because there's no way for any of us to do any of this by ourselves. No way. No way. Life is not set up like that. Life is not designed for us to shoulder that. And whenever we do try to shoulder it, that's when the problems come in. That's when anxiety comes in. That's when fear comes in. That's when doubt comes in. That's when depression comes in. When you try to do this stuff on your own, or you look around, and see, but how am I? Now, wait a minute. And this is especially for us women. I'm raising these kids. I'm in here by myself. I'm paying this mortgage. I'm paying all these bills. And I got this job and I'm trying to start this business and I'm writing a book. That's when you start sinking. Because you think you're doing it on your own. I absolutely, without a doubt, know that I'm not doing it by myself.
amen.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say to that is amen.
And I can relate to when someone tells you no, or we can't do this. That's when I shine too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you have to, because you're not just shining for you, Lisa, you're shining for everybody who's looking at you. You're
Yeah.
shining for the women who are coming after you. You're shining for, your co-signers. You know what I mean? You shining for the older women who are looking at you thinking, and y'all just think about this. Imagine where our moms and aunts would be if they had these opportunities, if they had podcast opportunities, if they had, opportunities like, to be able to start their own business. We have some, relatives, and most of them have gone on to glory, but who couldn't open a checking account by themselves, let alone start a business. You know what I mean? And so think about where these women could have been. Think about what they could have been doing. Think about how they could have been, building wealth for their families, and striving for greatness, and writing books, and, all of this stuff, if they had the opportunities that we have. And so, girl, I don't waste like a minute. Like if I waste a minute, I'll be mad. If I make a wrong turn and waste 3 minutes, I'm hot for 3 hours. I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna waste 3 minutes, 3 hours, and 3 minutes, because I'm gonna talk about for 3 hours with my girlfriends the 3 minutes I wasted. I don't want to waste nothing, not an idea, not a minute, not a creative thought, not a connection, not a cosign. I ain't wasting nothing.
So, what's sleep to you? Is that wasting?
Right, girl. Look, let me tell you something. Steve Harvey said rich people don't sleep. He said that Steve Harvey's rich. I listen to rich people. Steve Harvey said rich people don't sleep. He said you on the East Coast and you waking up at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. You on the, no, he said you on the West Coast. He said you waking up at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. People on the East Coast, they having lunch. They've already made the decisions they're going to make. You have missed out. So if you on the West Coast and you're trying to do business with people on the East Coast, you got to get up early. You got to get up before everybody else. And so I'm up before everybody else. And I'm going to go to bed after everybody's gone. Because look, y'all already know if success was easy, everybody would do it. Who going to stay up? Who going to answer the call from the anonymous numbers? Who going to wake up in the middle of the night with a computer on their lap and just keep typing after they had a couple of hours of sleep? Who going to do it? Who going to do the work? We want to, especially now with these kids, and we see it happening in them, we have created a false sense of success for these kids. And they don't realize the work that it takes to get to where we are. They think it's just, you go to college and you get a job. No, no, you got to put in them extra hours. When everybody else mama is asleep, your mama is awake. And no, I can't look at you because I'm on this phone. And no, I'm not going to go outside and play with you. About $3,000 worth of rainbow play equipment. You play with your damn self. I got this business to run. I ain't got time to play with y'all. I play with my kids. You know how to read your own damn book. I ain't got time to read to y'all. I want time for that. So it's so important that we really, especially for our young girls, remind them that they gotta be twice as good. They gotta work twice as hard. They gotta be better. They gotta last longer. They gotta be tougher. We want to do this gentle parenting. Girl, I'm so fed up with this mess. I don't know what to do with myself. Girl, you don't have to be tough. You do. You do have to be tough. Life is tough. Life is tough. And we wonder why our kids are folding like cheap card tables, because we have told them, Facebook and everybody else, that everybody's your friend. Everybody's not your friend. Everybody don't like you. Everybody not gonna like everything you do. And you gotta be okay with that. And for whatever reason, we are not passing down to our girls the strength that was passed down to us.
That's interesting. I absolutely agree with you. And I think it truly comes from parenting. And I do think you go back to social media.
Yeah,
You
that's
take it
social
back to
media.
social media and
Take
you
it
can,
back.
ugh,
Take it back to social media, because we are telling them that everybody likes. Everybody likes. Everybody's going to say something good about you. Everybody's going to retweet and repost your stuff. And they are sitting up here coming up with things, and then they going back. How many likes did I get? Who said this? Who said that? And so when they get out in the real world and somebody tell them, we don't like your dress, or the job that you're doing is, you're not doing a good job, or you know what, we don't need you to step your game up. Then all of a sudden you don't like me. No, I'm not your Facebook friend. I'm your boss. Your writing is bad. You need to step it up, go to a class. If you want to be this assistant, then you're going to have to do a better job at getting this calendar right. Well, now you don't like me. No, I like you. I just need you to do better.
yeah, that's
But
separation. Yeah.
it's no separation of church and state anymore. And girl, now come on, now we had bosses who rode us like we was at the Kentucky Derby. But when we look back on that, we like, wow, I got my strength up. I got my stamina up. I got my endurance up. I learned how to go to work and smile, even though I was struggling on the inside. We didn't go to work and pour out all our problems on our coworkers. We were taught you deal with that shit at home, and then you come to work and you do your job because you have to perform. This is performance based. We didn't have social media where everybody liked us. So these kids are getting jobs thinking people like them. We got jobs based on performance. And so our attack for the job is performance based. We want to do the best. We want to be the best. Their attack for work is likability. Mm. And so it's just the two different ways of looking at it. But let me tell you something that these young people have done. Girl, they have taught us how to demand our worth. They have taught us self-care. They have taught us how to treat people, how to train people how to treat us. Because without a union, think about this, ladies, during COVID, without a union or any kind of organized labor or any kind of marches or rallies, they single-handedly, without calling each other, decided we're not going to work unless you pay us. And this is what we want to make. And we want to work 4 days a week. And you're going to bring a yoga teacher up in here. And we're going to have an emotional support animal up in here around the office. They ain't call nobody. Girl, they did not send out a list to all these employers, but they demanded that. And so the way that they rode us like a Kentucky Derby racehorse all these years, when we was working 8 to 8 and then come home and still working and couldn't give our kids no eye contact, these young people are like 8 to 4. I'm not answering my phone after 4:15. I will see you in the morning again at 8 o'clock. And I'm bringing my dog to work on Fridays. If we work on Fridays, how about we not work on Fridays? How about we, and the wage. They raised the wage. They didn't, the union been in operation for damn near 1,000,000 years. And all the Washington money and lobbyists, all the marches and rallies, all the legislation did not do what these young people have done for us during COVID. And God bless them. But they have liberated us and set us free. And I sure do appreciate it.
Wow. Okay. Amen.
Amen, girl. Amen, honey.
Sister. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back.
All right.
We want to talk about what your day looks like. I can
all right.
We're going to talk about what your day looks like, what you've got what you got coming up, and how in the heck you started your own media company.
Yes.
We will be right back. Okay, Lisa, talk to me about how it actually works to bring a client into Mira Couture in Chicago.
You would meet me. I'd already know ahead of time what we're looking for, and I will have pre-looked at fabric ideas. You walk in, we talk to them about what we're thinking about. Julie will write and make a drawing, find out exactly what you want, whether it's a blazer, whether it's a dress, whether it's a pair of pants, whether it's a coat, mother of bride, mother of the groom. Then we talk fabric, and then they start wrapping you in the fabrics to see what you really like. And the rest is history. It's done. They take care of it.
They take your measurements. So really, this doesn't have to be replicated in terms of a trip back because you've been measured. So if you ever want to order something else, you're set.
It happens all the time. Once a client, I can get them one time, then we just keep moving on with whatever their needs are. I help create it with Julie. They sign off on the design and we make it.
You know, it's interesting. We talk about in the home building process and all of that, the selections that are made, the money that is spent on these things with very little care and thought that goes into it. And yet here you have an opportunity to make such selections in your wardrobe in pieces that you will have for years and years and years. So you might spend a little bit more, but not as much as you would think, right?
Exactly. And the one thing I tell mother of the brides and mother of the grooms is if we have a dress that we're going to make long and you want to be able to cut it off and wear it to other people's weddings as a cocktail dress, all you're paying for then is an alteration. So it's like 2 dresses in one. So break that down. That makes sense. Custom scares people.
Sure.
And it shouldn't. It shouldn't. You can spend maybe a little bit more than you thought you were going to spend. But it is so well worth it if you know exactly what you want. And most women, if they have something special they're going to, in their head, they already have what they want. They just don't know how to communicate it. That's my job to figure that out. And Julie's really good at that too.
Experience the magic. Go to miracouture.com. Sheletta, What's your day look like?
I wake up at 5 and I'm supposed to go right into my prayer closet, but I'm often tardy to my appointment with Jesus. I'm sure he's not happy with me because I lay there and I scroll through social media. My company is based on social media. It's a social media is the base. It's the platform. ShelettaMakesMeLaugh.com is a production company, but how we gained success and notoriety is through social media. I got just enough old school work ethic and just enough new school social media knowledge that I can merge those two to really generate great content, not just for myself, but for my clients. And so I go in and I pray, ask for guidance, ask for creative ideas, come out and then, get my kids ready for school or summer school or camp or whatever they're doing. Love on them, pray for them, send them on their way. And then, I get to do amazing things like connect with ladies like you, who I would never have known, who life would have never put you in my path, right? And then we get to talk and we get to love on each other. We get to build each other up. We get to share. We get to cry. We get to laugh. And then, I go out there and take on the world. There's so many opportunities there, especially for women and women in communities of color have not had a chance to get. There's seats at the table designed for us that you have to turn the chairs upside down. So every dollar that my company has gotten has been hard fought. There have been a few times where people will say, "Oh, Sheletta, we want to work with you. Here's this, or here's this project, here's that project." But most of the time, I'm like kicking the door open. And I'm saying, where's the money? Especially after George Floyd died, a lot of companies made promises to work with Black media. And I'm a Black media company. I have a production company. I have podcasts. I have publishing. I, do these children's books. And these companies did not do that. They wrote these news releases. They made these declarations and then they went in and closed the door. And so I was like, you know what? If you don't do right, I'm going to go on social media and talk about you real bad until you do right. I have to do that because otherwise you're not going to do the right thing. And so I went and, took it to Target, took it to General Mills, took it to the politicians, and they were like, "Oh no, we don't have any money for Black media. We're still trying to figure out, okay, well, let me help you." And so I just went on social media and said, "You know what? Hey, guess what? Target and General Mills made these promises. Here's this news release, and nobody in town, not one Black media outlet, has seen a dime of this money." Somebody asked them what the receipts are. And because all the news stations in town follow me on social media, they were like, "Can you come on our show?" Well, I sure can. So now Target and General Mills don't have to just account to me. They have to account to these media people who are asking, "Hey, you put out this news release after George Floyd died. Can you tell us what Black media outlets you work with?" And now they got to come back and say, "Hey, Sheletta, let's work together." Well, of course, let's work together. But why couldn't you do that shit on the back end? Why couldn't you have done that in the very beginning? Because it was the right thing to do. So I shouldn't have to, a lot of energy has been expended to hold people accountable and to make people do what they said they were going to do. I should just be able to go and have a relationship with you and talk to you and show you what I have available. And then if you don't want to do business with me, that's fine. You don't have to do business with me, but you promised you was going to do business with some Black media outlets. So
Right.
who it's going to be?
Right.
And I've talked to all of them, and none of them say they doing business with you.
And I think that last part is so important. You want the opportunity to show them what you can do.
I want the opportunity.
And honestly, I think these large companies are lazy.
They are absolutely lazy. And they think that we are forgetful. And that's the thing about social media, Lisa and Katie, is it is the great equalizer, right? And that's why it's so, when people say Elon Musk is messing up Twitter and, they're trying to get rid of TikTok, it's because marginalized communities have a voice. And this social media is a game changer. I can get on social media and reach people. I don't have to wait and beg a news station or organization to run my story or tell people about what I'm doing or talk about the injustice I'm experiencing. I can get on social media and talk about it and generate enough publicity that the news stations that I would normally call and beg are calling me. And so when we start talking about banning TikTok and taking away Twitter and the algorithms being messed up and Facebook changing stuff, that's not, and you see people like me getting up in arms about it, it's because it's messing with our money. It's messing with our opportunities. So if you ban TikTok, they just had a Black woman who sells body butter. She made $1 million in an hour on TikTok because they were trying out like the TikTok ads and live shopping on TikTok. Like, they're trying to get rid of QVC. They're trying to just take all QVC money. They're going on TikTok and doing a QVC style sale. And this Black woman out of Atlanta Atlanta or Alabama, who makes body butter, sold $1 million worth of product in 1 hour on TikTok. Now, why would you ban that? Why would you ban that? You would ban that because you're trying to keep marginalized communities in their place. You're trying to keep Black and brown people from gaining wealth. This is the new way we gain wealth. This is the new way. Nobody's going back out to the field to pick cotton. We're not going out there anymore. We're on TikTok with our own products, our own business. This is our voice. This is how we make our money. This is how we reach our people. This is our marketing. This right here is our marketing. We're not advertising on WCCO TV. We're not taking out ads in the newspaper. We're not calling the radio station. We're on TikTok. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn. That's where we are with our product. That's where our people are. That's where they're buying the stuff.
Which is why those platforms are so important to business.
So important.
That's why they're so important. So if you're smart and if you believe there's room for everyone,
there's room for everybody.
Then
but they don't want
embracing that. Yeah.
They don't want that. They want to ban it. They want to talk about it's not good and all the negatives. Well, you know what? If your kids are having trouble on social, take them off.
Well, you
want a parent.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the balance? Because we talked earlier about kids getting all the likes and it's affecting them socially. It's affecting
you take them off. Like my kids don't. I have a social media company. My kids not one of my 4 children have social media accounts. No, you don't get to have no social media account. I'm gonna put your stuff up and it's gonna be on my account, but you don't get to have no social media account. You need to be in there doing something else. This is for grown folks. This is for business. And so my kids know when I'm on Facebook, it's about a business. It's about I'm posting and it's got something to do with the business. I'm never ever just posting the post. If I'm on Twitter, I'm never ever just posting the post. This is when you have a business and this is your mode of getting the word out, then that's what you do. That's how you operate. That's how you very strategic. And the thing is that mainstream folks can't figure it out. They're trying to figure it out. They're like, is it the algorithms? Are you boosting posts? Is there a certain time of day that you're posting? No. And I'm not going to tell you and none of your business. Right. Figure it out. I figured it out.
Part of your business. If you would like to hire me to do,
if you want me to be a consultant,
I'd be happy to tell you.
Right. And another thing we got to fight off is all the people who want to call us for freebies. You know what I mean? I know y'all deal with it too, where, because we're creatives, people want to call us for consulting or I just want to pick your brain. Not till I pick your pockets. You're not going to pick my brain and I don't get to pick your pocket. I'm sorry. And so many times, ladies, we take these meetings and we sit in the meetings and we pitch all this stuff. So if I was doing it, this is what I would do. This is how I would do it. This is what I think it should look like. This is what the vision is for this space or this podcast or your company or whatever. And then, girl, they don't call you back and you look up and they doing the shit you told them about. They go, all your brain matter. And I don't think it was one day I was on the phone with somebody, girl, for an hour. Talking to them about how they can market something. And I got off the phone and my ex-husband said, you just gave away 1 hour of consulting.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to have to start charging people for that. That's brain matter. And I was like, for real? I never knew that my thoughts could generate an income. And he told me, he said, I get paid for thinking. I get paid for solving problems. You just solve somebody's problems. People will pay you to solve the problems. Because I always thought, especially as women, we think we got to work to earn something. We got to have some sweat. Our nails got to be dirty. We got to go somewhere, clock in, sit at a desk, and then somebody will pay us for their work. Sometimes people just pay you to think. And so I'm trying to teach my daughter now, it's honorable to work at the post office. It's honorable to work at Walmart. It is an honorable profession to drive a truck, to pick up trash. It is an honorable profession to sit behind a desk at a hospital and welcome the guests in. It's an honorable profession to answer the phone at an office. But you can also get paid for your thoughts. And so now I see a shift in my children. Like they're like, you know what, Mom? We should get action figures for all of our books.
Oh.
Thinking. thinking, right? Because we were always taught where you gonna work. What's what's gonna be your career? Who you gonna work for? How about I work for me? Nobody ever told us that. We didn't see that growing up. Because, the women that we grew up with, couldn't even own their own checking account. Couldn't even be on the first line of a checking account. They would hide money in the seams and the hems of curtains and under mattresses and in pill bottles and in cleaning product bottles. They would hide money. You know what I mean? Because they couldn't have bank accounts. So we don't really have any excuses. We don't have none. We don't have no excuses.
The driving force behind all of this, your strong faith, your family, this attitude that you can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the doors that closed in your face really directed you to where you are.
Yeah.
So you started a media company. Did you say one day, that's it, I'm starting a media company?
Well, I didn't know what I was going to do because this is before COVID and it was before podcasting was as popular as it is now. I had kind of heard about a podcast. I think I had been a guest on one before, but I was at CBS radio station in Minneapolis and they kept hiring the white guys. They got from sun up to sundown number white guys. I'm like, at some point, y'all, Black women have learned how to talk. We have mastered the English language. We can host a show for 2 or 3 hours and talk politics, pop culture, and whatever else is going on in the world. I promise you. We watch Sports Center too. And so they were like, oh, we just don't have anybody. And so they hired their last white man for me. Right. And then George Floyd died. And, they called me and said, would you come and co-host the show with this guy? This is the guy they hired over me. This is the guy that they said was the better choice. But they needed some people. They needed somebody who didn't look like all the white guys because the whole city was burning down. Right? We in the thick of things. We're in Minneapolis. We're blocks away from where George Floyd was killed. The city is burning down and you got white men talking about what's happening. You need somebody. And so, of course, I said, hell no, F you and your mama. And I hung up the phone. And then my husband was like, at the time, he said, what's your prayer every day? And I was like, did I become a millionaire? And he was like, no, the other one. I was like, oh, that God would make me the answer to somebody's problem. Mm-hmm. And he said, these people have a problem. Now, are you going to be the answer? Are you going to call and tell them to F them and their mama? I said, well, I guess that was probably wrong to do. So let me call them back. And so for a whole week, me and this guy hosted a show together. Right? And it was great. It was amazing. We had real good, authentic conversations. And there was nobody else on the radio who was Black, who was giving a perspective of why the city's burning down. Okay? After that week was up and the city went back to normal, so did their attitude. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start my own company. I'm never going to be enough. I'm never going to be what they're looking for. I'm never going to have enough degrees. I'm never going to have enough certifications. And so that's when I started my company. And it's so funny because like a couple of weeks ago, I put up a post on LinkedIn that so many women resonated with. JJ Redick is now the Los Angeles Lakers head basketball coach. The only head basketball coaching experience that JJ Redick has is that he coached his son's 4th grade team as a volunteer. So he went from coaching his son's 4th grade team to being the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. So my message to women is you are enough. You don't need another damn certification. You don't need another degree. You don't need another training. You don't need another workshop. You don't need another seminar. Everything you have is enough. You are complete. Go out there and apply for that job that you don't qualify for. Go out there and start the business that you don't have the money to start. Go out there and write the book and your ass ain't read a book in 20 years, but you got a book inside of you. Go out there and write the damn book because you are enough. If this man can get the most coveted head coaching job in the NBA with the only experience being that he coached his son's 4th grade basketball team as a volunteer, ladies, what's stopping us? Really? Men do this shit all the time. They go and get jobs that they are not qualified for. But before we even look at the job, we start talking ourselves down. Well, they want a master's degree and I don't have a master's degree. And they want this kind of certification and I don't have that. They want 10 years of experience. I got 7.5. I'm just not going to even apply. Just do it.
You brought up a point earlier too, because even if you don't get it, you're making them think. If they're seeing what you're putting out, and you might be moving the needle for the next person to
For the
come
next
in.
person. And you're going to build up confidence for yourself. You know, when you apply for that job, it's going to remind you of all the qualifications you do have. When's the last time we sat down and wrote down all the shit we've done? It would blow our minds. It will blow your mind, Lisa and Katie, if you just took the time today and sat down and write down all the things you accomplished in just the past 10 years. You probably won't even remember all the great things you've done. And when that stuff starts coming on that paper, it's going to build you up to the point where, girl, you're going to almost damn explode. You're going to be like, I did that. I did this. I cannot. Oh my God. I remember when I did that. Oh my God. I can't believe I did that. You mean to tell me, oh my God, girl, I have forgot about that. Oh my God, that was the best. I remember when that happened. And you might have to call some people and be like, girl, what of all the stuff I did, like what do you, because I'm trying to like write down everything I did this past year. What all do you remember, like some great, yeah, girl, because you did this, remember? And people gonna tell you stuff, and you just keep that somewhere. You keep that handy somewhere to remind you how bad you are, how a bad ass you are, to remind you how smart you are, to remind you how capable you are, so that when these things happen and come up, you won't feel like you're not qualified.
And it truly is. You're building up your own intrinsic motivation, right?
Yes.
It's absolutely got to bubble up from within you, because you're right. There's always going to be people saying, no, no, no,
No.
no, no,
Yeah, you're just not a good
no.
fit. And we will hear more of that than we hear of the other. Right?
Mhm.
If they even call us back. You know, sometimes they just ghost us. I call it Minnesota ghosting in Minnesota. Well, they're so nice to you because it's Minnesota nice and it's so polite. And then they're like, oh, I'll call you. And then they never do. Never. And then when they see you on the street, they'll be like, hi, I followed you on LinkedIn. F you, you said you call. You didn't say nothing about following me on LinkedIn. 2,000 people follow me on LinkedIn. You said call. We were supposed to connect. But, that's life.
I love
That's
that
life.
I love that you hold people accountable. I think that's maybe one of your superpowers.
Well, this is the thing too. It also will exclude me from getting opportunity. Because if I'm always the one out front, I'm the angry Black woman, right? Am I not? Because I'm the one always yelling. I'm the one always complaining. I'm the one always, finding fault but no. And somebody said, well, you shook down Target and General Mills. I was like, I didn't shake them down. That was an accountability thing. Well, you shook down the Democrats. No, I didn't shake them down. There was an accountability thing. And so the opportunity then may go to someone else. So so there's a cost and a price to pay now for being the loud Black woman out front. Sometimes they will come and work with you. Sometimes it will work with somebody else. You will be excluded from the party. You won't get the awards. You won't get invited. You won't get on the boards. You won't get the grant because those people are at those meetings. They in those rooms and they remember how you embarrassed them. They remember how you seem so powerful that they have to now try to use the power that they have to snuff out your power. So there's a price to pay. And you have to be willing to accept that and not collapse under the weight and the pressure of having to always succeed. And that's the thing about men. They'll file bankruptcy for one business 8 times and still be open in the brick and mortar. And you're like, didn't he just go out of business? What in the hell? He was selling shoes this week. Now he's selling shoelaces. What the hell happened? He was selling barbecue this week. Now he's selling potato salad. What happened? He was painting. Now he's selling paint. What happened? Those men will go back to the bank and get loan after loan after loan after loan. They'll start a business and it'll go up, belly up. They'll start another business in another city. It'll go belly up. They'll go to the other side of town. That business will go belly up. And they just keep trying. We lose a business, girl. It's a wrap. It's a whole wrap. We failed as a business owner. We can't do it no more. We lost all our money. We had to fire our employees. We had to give up our brick and mortar. We ain't got no more money left. We got to go back to the job. I'm just going to stay here and play it safe. I told God, I want to be so far out. I have nothing to go back to. I want to be so far on the other side of the promises he made me about being rich and prosperous and blessed, that if I dare look back, and I don't, that there's nothing behind me except my children in air. Because we are so close to the finish line. We are so close to the success. We are so close to the promise that we don't have a choice. It's kind of like if you run in a race and you get close to the finish line and you want to collapse, and you're like, shit, I can't go back because the finish line is closer to the starting block, right? So you just got to keep going to the finish line.
I feel like I've had an infusion of adrenaline, actually, an infusion of adrenaline, and I gotta ask this question, which is out of left field, but not so much. Did Charles Barkley ever respond?
No, he did not. And I was so disappointed in him. Yes, F, all the way, all the Fs. He gets all the Fs and all the Cs because he totally should have responded, but he did not. And that was a great campaign. There's a great idea. There was a great billboard. He should have totally responded, and he didn't. But you know what? I did not count that as a loss. No. So many people laughed. So many people had a good time with my Bring Your Ass campaign and messing with Charles Barkley about not having enough suits, and followed that on social media and enjoyed that. And you know, it's about light and love and laughter. That's all
and
hopefully
the haberdashery got a little bit more business.
The haberdashery was so happy to have me there, and it was so much fun. I had so much fun, and I brought my daughter along, which I try to do anytime I'm doing like fun stuff, and it's not like really hard stuff, stories and stuff like that. So I brought her, and she got a chance to see and enjoy it, and it was just fun to do. It was so much fun to make. I felt like I made the whole city laugh.
You did. You absolutely did. You did. It was brilliant. It truly was brilliant.
It was. I know. I tell people all the time, I'm pretty brilliant. And they think, well, this woman is getting out of a 9-seater van, is dinner on the side. She got damn near a whole box of Raisins Cane's French fries on the floor. She doesn't brush her teeth or bathe every day because she got 4 kids. And it doesn't look like her toenails. Why are they so long? Yeah, and I'm it's a sneaky brilliance, I tell you. And that's why people say, well, how you working with all these companies? It's because they understand and know that we have our hand and finger on the pulse of the community. And that's why they're willing to put their equity on our influence, because we have a lot of influence in the community, and there's no way you can argue with success. You know what I mean? Like, you can say whatever you want to say, but when you are successful and you can see that is pretty hard to argue with. I tell people all the time, you can go out here and say something bad about me in these streets if you want to. Somebody's going to hit you over the head with a bag of nickels and beat the hell out of you, because between making folks laugh and doing something for people's grandmothers or autistic grandsons and daughters, or giving away carbon monoxide detectors or meals for Thanksgiving or hams for Easter, or got the Easter baskets and bunnies on the north side, I'm going to bless somebody. And it will beat the hell out of you about me. So I walk real tall and I sleep real good when I do sleep, because, I'm just absolutely blessed. And it's been a blessing hanging with y'all. Thank y'all for having me on the show. I hope y'all had fun. I did.
Amazing. Now, listen, before we bug out of here, we always do a nonprofit spotlight, and you have one that you talked about, Girls Taking Action. So tell us a little bit about Girls Taking Action.
Yes, Dr. Verna Price, who is just an amazing woman here in the Twin Cities for the past 14 years, has had this Girls Taking Action organization where she takes the girls who are about to be kicked out of school. These girls are in detention, suspension. They're having problems at home, and she mentors them. And this woman turns girls who are about to drop out of high school into college graduates. I've seen it for myself. It's amazing. And a lot of the girls are coming back to the programs to be mentors and to work with Dr. Verna. 14 years of this, successful. She don't miss. I'm talking, it's different when you have, your little ladies' tea and the young girls are already refined and y'all have a good time. And no, these girls are rough. They fighting teachers. They at home getting abused. They have kids. You know what I mean? They in junior high school with babies. And she takes these girls, and they're graduating from Dillard University and Xavier University and University of Minnesota and the University of Houston and Texas Tech. What? For 14 years straight, this how you doing it? And so I always, whenever I can, support Girls Taking Action, because I see the results. And, the one thing about the program is that if you change a girl, you change her house. If you change a house, you change your mama. If you change a house, you change your block. If you change the block, you change the street. And when you change the street, you change the neighborhood. And that's how change is made. Change is made from house to house. And every little girl in that program represents a house. They're going to learn how to sail this week. Who takes little Black girls from North Minneapolis out to sail? Not swimming, sailing. That's a whole different elevation level, right? And so that they can see these things. And so how do you not support or fund a program like that?
It sounds like an incredible program, and I was not aware of it, and I will be now. girlstakingaction.org, empowering and mentoring girls to succeed in school and life. And it's such a simple message. It's one that we all deserve.
Yes.
And especially in areas that are so underserved, to know that this is happening, that it's amazing. Well, Sheletta, you certainly did bring your ass to the podcast.
Bring your ass to the podcast. That needs to be the name of y'all new podcast. Bring your ass to the podcast.
No, I think you gotta trademark that or something.
Bring your ass to the podcast.
That's right. That's right. I think we just created something right here.
That's it. That's how the creativity works, ladies. Y'all co-signed it. Y'all look, we co-signed it.
That's right. That's right. If people want to get a hold of you,
ShelettaMakesMeLaugh.com. That's it, girl. That's where I live. That's where my mail comes. Right there. So easy.
Thank you. Thank you for just sharing you with us.
Yeah. Like Katie said, we just got an infusion. We got an infusion of courage and inspiration.
Yes. And some laughs.
And there's
some laughs.
And some laughs. Of course, always laughs.
And laughs, for sure. There's so much more to you. I know we could go on for hours, but
thank you.
Oh, I love you, ladies. Thank y'all for always uplifting women and showing us what positivity and strength look like. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Lisa, what did we forget to ask her?
Does she have to have coffee in the morning, or does she just go?
Does she just wake up and go like that? That's incredible. That's incredible. I truly enjoyed that, really learning about her and just letting her go. She just really has such an infectious energy, and you really feel like you are getting, who needs an oxygen bar? She just breathes life into everything.
Yeah, just go talk to Sheletta.
Just go talk to Sheletta. Absolutely. Yeah, truly. I truly enjoyed that. If you want more information on us, viewinyourmirror.com is the place to go. We have all of our podcasts listed, all of our nonprofits listed, links to get to both of us personally. And I will just tell you, I hope that you get the infusion that we got from Sheletta, to know that you are the best that you can be, and look yourself in the mirror and tell you got this, girl, and go out and change the world. Until next time.